What's up, guys? This is Five for Politics, and I want to discuss a subject that came to mind this week as I read about the drone strikes in the Caribbean. Like many, I was appalled by the strikes themselves, so I asked myself the question, had anything like this ever happened before? I was surprised to discover that former President Barack Obama had in fact ordered several questionable drone strikes, killing a large number of people, 4 of which just happened to be American citizens. I decided to compare Trump's boat strikes with Obama's drone strikes and see if we can unpack the legality and morality of both. Between 2011 and 2015, 4 American citizens, most famously Anwar al-Awlaki and his teenage son, were killed by U.S. drones in Yemen. These strikes targeted individuals the government labeled national security threats, but often the justification was given behind closed doors with little oversight, minimal transparency, and no due process. The executive branch argued that these individuals were engaged in terrorism and posed an imminent threat. But here's the dilemma. The Constitution doesn't just dissolve when a citizen crosses a border. Due process is not optional. We don't allow the government to act as prosecutor, judge, and executioner simply because a target is inconvenient to arrest. And yet, that is exactly what happened. Unfortunately, these drone strikes set a precedent. If the government claims someone is a threat, it can kill them without trial, without presenting evidence, and without public oversight. That should concern every American, regardless of political affiliation. Now fast forward to the recent Caribbean boat strikes by the Trump regime. While they may seem unrelated, they reflect the same mindset. Force first and accountability later, if ever. In the name of fighting drug trafficking, U.S. agencies have begun using deadly airstrikes on boats suspected of running drugs. There is no arrest, no trial. Many of these men have not even been identified, and the justification used by Trump and Hegseth is that these drug mules are enemy combatants who are designated as terrorists. Once designated a terrorist, the Constitution seems to no longer apply. The U.S. government was instead judge, jury, and executioner, finishing off the survivors of one strike as they floated on the debris of their destroyed vessel, in violation of the Geneva and Hague Accords. Let's be clear, drug trafficking is a real problem, but using military-style tactics against small boats is not only dangerous, it's strategically questionable. We've spent 50 years waging a war on drugs, and what do we have to show for it? Wealthy new cartels, purer and more dangerous substances, and communities devastated not only by drugs, but also by the heavy-handed response to them. Aggressive boat strikes don't solve the drug crisis. They perform toughness while avoiding real solutions. And here's where the comparison becomes unavoidable. Whether it's a drone in Yemen or a patrol craft in the Caribbean, the government increasingly relies on force because force is easier than addressing root causes or respecting legal limits. The troubling truth is that both administrations have acted as judge, jury, and executioner without oversight and due process. It also seems clear to me that Obama's drone strikes set the precedent for the Trump administration to use deadly force by declaring people terrorists and bypassing due process and constitutional protections. Who will be the next to be declared a terrorist? What are the ethical boundaries of U.S. power? These are questions we need to be asking ourselves as citizens. We should demand better. We should demand transparency. And above all, we should demand a return to the idea that American power must be tied to American values. Ending terrorism and curbing drug trafficking are important goals, but if the methods we use undermine the Constitution abroad and human rights in our own hemisphere, then we must ask ourselves, are we protecting our ideals or eroding them?